The life of an ordinary student named Johann suddenly changed after he acquired and wore a ring that possessed a great power. One day, the archaeologist and chairman of the Buy Group company, who was Mr. Luke, held a special lecture in Johann's class. He told the story of the Battle of Mouilly, where the army of Zhou defeated the army of Dixin. When Luke showed Dixin's bronze human figure, an international student from France named Tattoo immediately noticed the ring that Dixin was wearing. Luke was amazed that Tattoo noticed it, so he added that the ring could be considered one of Dixin's important possessions. Tattoo asked if this thing had been recovered, but according to Luke it was still a mystery until now where the ring was. While most of the students were focused on the lecture, Johann was just behind them and sleeping. His classmate, named Leo, woke him up and told Johann that he was going to offer him something after school. He turned it down immediately because of his job, but after Leo mentioned the amount of money that he could potentially earn from the offer, Johann thought about it. After their class, he visited his mother, who was seriously ill and was confined in the hospital. Due to the sudden loss of his father 5 years ago, he was the one who needed to work to earn a living for his education and paid bills for his mother's treatment. Whenever he visited her mother, she would always ask him if he already had a girlfriend. After a while, the nurse called Johann to ask him again when he was going to pay the hospital bills. Because he badly needed the money, he decided to accept Leo's offer. He immediately went to Leo's location, which was in a construction site, and he saw other men with weapons in their hands. Leo showed him a ring, and when he held it to take a closer look, he immediately noticed that it was the same as Dixin's ring. Leo wanted him to wear it, but he refused because he might end up being harmed like what happened to him before, after Leo asked him to do something. To make Johann agree on this, Leo promised to pay all of his mother's hospital bills. Suddenly, a woman asked him if he would wear the ring or not. When he turned around, he saw a beautiful woman named Yana, and he was captivated by her beauty. It turned out that she wanted to take a video of what would possibly happen once he wore the ring. Because of Leo's promise, he was forced to wear the ring, but it had no effect on him. Leo and the others who witnessed this thought that the ring was fake, but after a while, Johann suddenly felt something strange in his body that made him kneel to the ground. He felt like vomiting, and when he opened his mouth, Leo was shocked by what he saw. What was inside Johann suddenly attacked Leo, causing one of his arms to be cut off, and he immediately fainted after seeing his severed arm. Then they saw the gradual growth of the creature that attacked Leo. It turned out to be a blood devil, so one of them immediately threw a stone at this creature. But it suddenly disappeared. Then the devil also attacked the others who were there. Yana immediately ordered Johann to remove the ring, but he could not remove it. She tried to help him until the blood devil approached them. Johann quickly protected her, and when the devil was about to attack him, Johann suddenly kissed Yana in order to put it in the news that he died happily with a girlfriend, and through this, his mother would not be so sad. But they were surprised that the attacker was blocked by another man who was with them, named Dan. Because of this, they were given the opportunity to escape, and Dan was left to fight the demon. They entered a fast food restaurant, and Johann felt an intense thirst that he immediately drank the soda in front of him. But he could not forget what the demon had done to the others earlier. Then he suddenly thought that Leo might have died too, which was a big problem because he would not be able to pay the hospital bills in that case. After a while, Yana invited him to go to the nearest hotel, and this invitation surprised him. When they arrived at the hotel, he felt weak after seeing how expensive the rooms were. But he did not expect that Yana would pay for the room that they would take. Because of this, he thought that she might also be a monster who also wanted to eat him. But he also considered the positive things that might happen between them. When they entered the room, Yana introduced herself as a journalist of South City Daily. And the reason why she brought Johann there was because she wanted to observe the ring. She started examining it because she still could not believe that it had released a blood devil. After she wrote the important information about the ring, she ordered Johann to undress because there might be something strange on his body. But he refused to do what she wanted, so she slapped him hard, causing him to lose his consciousness. When Yana was about to use her cell phone, she realized that it was missing, so she decided to return to the construction site. Meanwhile, Johann dreamed that he was at the construction site again with the blood devil. After the devil killed the man, he was about to be killed too, and that was the moment that he woke up. Just a few moments later, some policemen suddenly entered the room to arrest him. The group was led by May with Kiba, and they were accusing him as the primary suspect in the incident that happened at the South City construction site. He tried to say that a blood devil did it, but they did not believe him. Because of this, he mentioned Yana's name because she was with him when they escaped from the construction site. Then he was taken to the Forensic Identification Center, and he was shocked to see what happened to Yana. According to May, they saw her at the construction site, and this was just a proof that they did not run away together. Because of Johan's desperation to prove to them that he was innocent, he tried to wake her up, but Kiba stopped him. He was taken to the patrol car and would be taken to the detention house. But he suddenly heard the voice of the blood devil, and it appeared to him. The devil offered to help him escape if he would give him his body. But he immediately rejected its offer because he knew that he was innocent. Before the blood devil disappeared completely, he told Johan that he would just wait, because as long as he was wearing the ring, the blood devil would be able to find him. After a few minutes, they decided to leave, and while they were on the way, Johan thought about what might happen, especially to his mother, if she found out what had happened to him. Because of this, he tried to get away, but Kiba stopped him. When he bit the ring, someone suddenly attacked the car, causing him to be knocked over and lose consciousness. When he regained consciousness, he saw masked men in front of him. Then he also saw May and Kiba, who were already bound in handcuffs. According to one of these men, their boss ordered them to save him. The captain gave him the tablet so he could talk to their boss, and he was surprised that it was Leo. Apart from the fact that he was still alive, he was also surprised that his severed arm was restored. Leo said that it was because he had a lot of money. Because of this, May and Kiba found out that there was still a survivor from the incident that happened at the construction site. Johan immediately told Leo to stand as his witness so that he could prove that he did not kill anyone, but Leo refused because he lost his consciousness and he could not tell if Johan really did not kill anyone. But Leo thought of another way to prove that Johan was innocent. They talked on the radio to one of their colleagues who was in the Forensic Identification Center, and this man had a mission to get Yana's cell phone from there. After getting the cell phone, this man approached Yana's body. But he was surprised when Yana's cell phone's alarm suddenly rang. After turning off the alarm, she woke up and wanted to take back her cell phone, and this caused the man to fall in shock. After she got up, her stomach's wound gradually healed. Due to his fear on Yana, he tried to leave the room, and that's when Yana suddenly disappeared. He immediately informed the others that Yana had come back to life, but they did not believe him and told him that they would be killed if he failed to get the cell phone. Because of this, he immediately picked up the cell phone, but that was when he found out that Yana was just behind him, and what happened next caused him to scream. When they heard this, Leo told them that after he found out that Yana was secretly investigating him, he also took his men to investigate what she was doing, but all of his men suddenly disappeared without a trace. So he thought that there was a possibility that Yana was not a person either. A few moments later, they received news from another staff of Leo who was at the Forensic Identification Center, saying that the person they had ordered to get the cell phone was killed already, and Yana also left and took the cell phone with her. Because of this, Leo immediately told them to follow and capture Yana, because the videos on her cell phone could prove that Johan was innocent. He also told Johan that as long as he could bring him the cell phone and the ring, he would still continue helping his mother even if he died in this mission. Leo's other men saw Yana enter what looked like an abandoned house, and one of their group followed her inside. Suddenly, they saw a lot of zombies there, which was why they were forced to rain bullets on them. But because there were so many of them, Leo's men could not handle it, so one of his men blew up the area with a grenade. As Johan and the others arrived, they also felt the shaking of the ground when the explosion happened. Because of this, they also decided to enter the house, but Kiba immediately stopped May from following the others. He said that this house was known to be haunted, and those who entered it were not able to get out alive. But Leo's men did not pay attention to his warning, so they still entered the abandoned house. After a few seconds of walking, the dead bodies of their colleagues appeared before them. Before they continue, Johan begged the masked men to remove the handcuffs of Mai and Kiba because they could not move properly, and this would only slow them down. After that, they continued walking, and when they reached a room, they were surprised to see the closets with strange creatures inside the capsules. One of them found a door with stairs heading down, and they entered it too. They had no idea that someone was watching them, named John. And this man had activated something so that they would fall completely below. When they got to the bottom, they stood up quickly and looked around, but the area was very dark. One of them saw a torch hanging on the wall, and when he removed it, he was attacked with an arrow, and luckily he was able to block it. But a few moments later, it was followed by many arrows. After Johann saved May, he remembered what his father said about the light sensor. Kiba was very angry at him because he was still at the top of May. While they were arguing, Johann immediately told the others to turn off the lights because it was a trap that might be activated with a light sensor. One of them threw an explosive device at the source of the arrows, causing the camera that was placed there to be damaged. John was very angry about this, and it turned out that Yana was also with him. The group continued walking, and when they reached another room, they saw two bodies of women with the heads of animals. May saw a painting on the wall, and according to Kiba, it might be a human sacrifice. He added that there must be a secret room there, and when he touched the painting, it was here that a door where the painting was hung suddenly opened. But a woman inside the capsule had been awakened and attacked one of their colleagues. After a while, the other woman was also awakened and attacked too, but she was immediately hit on the head. They knocked them down, but these women were still alive, and no matter what they did to them, these strange creatures could not be killed. While Johann was hiding in the secret room, his hand touched a lipstick on the wall. After he smelled it, he immediately knew that the switch was also there to close the room which they had opened earlier. They quickly entered it, and as soon as the door closed, it suddenly activated to bring them down. It turned out to be an elevator, and when they got to the bottom, they ended up in an old-fashioned operation room with a woman lying on the bed. They ordered Chiba to approach this woman, and he found out that she was still alive. After a while, she was awakened and got up. When the woman realized that she had no clothes on, she panicked. Because her face seemed familiar, they found out that it was the actress named Lily. So they immediately thought of getting an autograph, but May stopped them. May asked her why she was there, but Lily could not answer and just cry. Johann noticed the wound on her neck, so he immediately told everyone to stay away from Lily. It also turned out to be a monster, and that was when she took out her weapon. When Lily attacked May, Kiba quickly blocked it. Johann thought that she was not the real Lily, but this woman just laughed at him because she revealed that she was the real Lily. And since they still could not believe it, that was when Lily decided to tell them a secret. She said that it was about what rich people wanted to happen, and it was to become immortal. She added that less than 1% of the country's billionaires already knew about this secret. She said that she should not be able to acquire it, but she used her beauty and connections to fulfill this dream. This was a moment that they found out that there were already many people who underwent this operation. In Lily's annoyance that she had been awakened by just ordinary people, she decided to attack, but the captain got ahead of her. But Lily got up, and the wound she got healed quickly. Because of this, bullets rained on her until she fell to the ground again. But it still did not work, and her body just released the bullets she received. As she was about to approach Johann and May, Kiba stopped Lily to give them time to run. But before they could even run, Lily immediately killed Kiba. When Lily stood up, the captain suddenly shot her, so the rest took this chance to run away, and an explosive device was also thrown at Lily. When they caught up with their other companions, they asked about their captain. May said that it was possible that he did not survive after the explosion. So one of them thought that it would be better if their captain was with someone else in the afterlife, so he suddenly shot May's thigh. He added that May would serve as their sacrifice in case the monster chased after them. They intend to take Johann with them to escape, but Johann refused to come with them because he could not just leave May. Because of this, the masked men decided to leave, but before they left, they put another explosive device on the ground. John was very angry because Yano left a mark on the switch. Because of this, the research institute which was entrusted to him by the leader of the Corpse clan was messed up. He said that they should not let anyone leave in there because his life would surely be in danger if someone found out about this facility. John knew that Yana was not worried about this because she was one of their leader's favorites, and he would be the one to blame for the mistakes she created. Since he could not bear it anymore, he locked her up, and when Yana touched the railing, John electrocuted her, causing her to lose consciousness. On the other hand, Johann immediately tried to cover May's wound to stop the bleeding. After a while, they heard footsteps that seemed to be approaching them. May wanted Johann to leave quickly because she decided that she would be the one to deal with the enemy and planned to use the explosives. But Johann suddenly walked towards the enemy, saying that he would deal with it so that Lily would not be able to get close to May. A few moments later, he and Lily met. When she was about to attack Johann, he suddenly uttered that he agreed to take his body, but there was a condition. While Lily was confused and stopped her attack. This was to make sure that the woman he was with could get out of there and must be taken to the hospital as well. Lily laughed at what he had said because she thought that Johann was talking to her, but it turned out that he was referring to the Blood Devil. After the Blood Devil's arm was completed, he immediately attacked Lily. And when his whole body was formed, he attacked her non-stop. Johann was amazed that the devil was beating Lily with just one hand. When the Blood Devil held Lily, she was able to attack him from behind. But he just created new hands and cut off Lily's weapon. Lily tried to run away, but she was stopped, and the Blood Devil grabbed her immediately. Because of this, he completely defeated her, then he approached Johann. Meanwhile, those who left Johann and May decided to rest in one room. Because of being so nervous, they were always being alerted by even a single mouse. One of them was so annoyed that he rained bullets at the rat, but he did not hit it even once, and the rat just laughed at him. After a while, the rat called for backup, and they attacked this man. While his companion was laughing at him, they saw large mosquitoes above them, and they quickly shot at these creatures. One of them was about to escape, but the mosquitoes still caught him. May chose to crawl to go back to Johann, and when she saw that he was still alive, she then lost her consciousness. In order to bring her to the hospital, Johann asked the Blood Devil to begin their union as quick as possible. But when the Blood Devil started this, it was here that the devil told him that he only lied to help May, because he would turn her heart into dessert once they become one. John picked up Yana's cell phone because he noticed that she was always looking at it, and he also wanted to see its contents. And when he watched the videos, he was surprised by what he saw. He was even terrified because he could also see the current fusion between Johann and this demon from the camera footage, and he could not think what kind of creature it was. The Blood Devil seemed very happy that he could at last come back and get the ring again. But suddenly, someone attacked the devil, and it turned out to be the captain of the group, who turned out to be Dan. Dan and the Blood Devil fought, and even though the Blood Devil continuously attacked him, Dan could still manage to dodge them. Until the devil used his fist to punch him, and this was when Dan had the opportunity to stab the enemy with his knife. But it had no effect on the Blood Devil, and he told Dan that he was going to take his heart like what he did to Gon, and crush his body like what he had done to Ikao. Because of the names he mentioned, Johann immediately thought that this might be Dishin himself. So he asked him questions, and only then he learned that the one wearing the ring would be a sacrifice when Dishin came back. Dan said that this creature was just a monster that ate people's hearts, since Dishin also belonged to the Corks clan. And because Dan had a strong hatred on the Corks clan, he was determined to kill his opponent. When he rushed to the enemy, Johann also threw a stone at the devil, but he was only being locked up. Because of this, Dan had the opportunity to cut off the enemy's arm, and when the devil was about to attack, Dan also cut the other arm. But his enemy just laughed, because its arms immediately regenerated. When the devil was the one who attacked, this was easily stopped by Dan, then he rushed forward and they continued to exchange their attacks. While Johann was watching them, he was in awe of Dan, because he could keep up with the Blood Devil. On the other hand, when Yana regained her consciousness, she saw a goat's head in front of her. It turned out that John intended to experiment on her and change her head like what he did with the two women in the capsule. She warned John by the name of the leader of the Corks clan, but John did not budge because he knew that their leader would not like what she did, that she messed up the facility, including the news about the Blood Devil. When John approached her, Yana immediately kicked his eggs, causing him to move back and his experimental items to fall. The severed hand with one eye came to life, and John tried to catch it, but it just jumped away from him. Then it tampered with John's computer, and while John was fixing it, the various traps in the facility were activated too. In John's annoyance, he accidentally pressed the button to activate the laboratory's self-destruct sequence. Because of this, John quickly took his important documents and told Yana what was happening in the laboratory. When he saw May, he also thought of taking her with him and gave her as a gift to their leader. After a while, water began to enter the room. And while the fight between Dan and the Blood Devil continued, John also took May, which Johann immediately noticed. Because of Johann's scream, Dan lost his focus for a moment, causing him to be hit by the Blood Devil that he was thrown to the ground. When the Blood Devil was about to kill him, it was here that Johann used the power of the ring to stop the Blood Devil. The enemy tried to fully get Johann's body, but Johann did not let it happen, and even managed to free himself from being imprisoned. Then the demon gradually dissolved, and it was wondering why this was happening to him. After that, Johann's eyes and hands returned to normal. He could not even believe how he managed to make his hand imitate the Blood Devil's power. Dan thought of someone he knew who might have the answer to this, but they needed to get out of there first. When Johann tried to open the door where May fell, Jana suddenly fell on him. Then she was immediately attacked by Dan, but she quickly avoided this. And since Dan was sure that she was also a member of the Corpse Clan, he also wanted to kill Jana, so he attacked her again. But Johann suddenly got in between them to stop Dan from his attacks. Johann knew that she also intended to run away from there, and the marks on her hands and feet could prove it. They also thought that maybe she was tied up by the enemy because of the marks she left on the wall. When they noticed the water on the floor, it was here that she informed them about the self-destruct sequence and that they had to evacuate as soon as possible. Johann was still worried about May, but Jana told him that she was definitely in a safer place than them. Johann suddenly stopped after he saw something in front of them, and it turned out to be the explosive left by Dan's men. While they were struggling on how to solve it, they had no idea that a monster had been awakened in the facility. Dan wanted to blow it up, but Jana said that it would definitely be the reason for them to be locked up there until they die. Because of this, she volunteered to fix it, and Dan decided to pee first. He wanted to take Johann with him, but Jana told him to leave Johann so he could accompany her. After Dan left, Jana undressed, and she asked Johann to hold her clothes. After a few moments, she began to take care of the explosive. She also blew it up, but it did not affect the surroundings because of what she did. Johann got up. He also saw her with light patterns on her body. When Jana got dressed, she warned Johann not to tell anyone about the patterns he saw on her body. A few moments later, Dan came there in a hurry because he thought that Jana was hurting Johann. Because the water was flowing towards them, they immediately continued running to find the exit. After a while, they saw the body of Dan's men floating in the water. Because of their appearance, she suspected that it was because of the sleeping mosquitoes that were just above them. But because of the noise from the fallen capsule, the mosquitoes woke up, so Jana immediately opened a secret passage, and they quickly entered it. Dan decided to stay behind to deal with the mosquitoes, so Jana told him that she would leave marks on their path for him to follow. When the mosquitoes approached him, he took the wood next to him to protect himself from their bites. Then he immediately left there before the rising water caught up with him. A few minutes later, he was able to catch up with Johann and Jana. As they continued their walk, they reached the part of the facility where a lot of water was collected. Due to the destruction of the path in this area, they were forced to swim so they could cross, but they did not know that there was a monster under the water. But when Johann was about to reach the other side, the monster suddenly pulled him under. Jana immediately moved to attack the monster, causing Johann to escape from it. They all got out of the water successfully, but the monster attacked Johann again. Fortunately, Dan blocked it immediately, and so did Jana. Then they quickly ran towards the door, but only Jana was the one successfully reached it. When the monster attacked Johann, Dan slashed its tentacle, and Johann was released by it. But just a few moments, they felt a sudden shake in the area, and here they saw the monster's body. Dan threw an explosive device at it, but it did not work, and this monster attacked them again. Although Dan avoided all the monster's attacks, it caused the wall to break, and a type of gas came out that caused their weakness. Because of this, they were both captured by the monster, and when it was about to eat them, Jana came to blow fire on it, causing the monster to release them. They immediately continued to swim to get out of there, but the monster managed to pull Johann, and this was when he lost his consciousness. When he woke up, he was in a hotel room that was familiar to him. Then he saw himself on the news as a suspect in what happened to May and Kiba. It was only here that he found out that May was the daughter of a mayor. When he got up, he saw the letter from Dan, and it said that if he wanted to know other information about the ring, they should meet at the place he pointed out on the map after 10 days. He immediately went to his mother at the hospital because he knew that the news about him had reached her. When they faced each other, she was worried because of the police outside. He made it clear to his mother that he had committed no crime and that he would prove his innocence. When they heard the voice of the police coming, he told his mother that he would also look for his father. When the police entered, he quickly jumped out of the window. Meanwhile, John went to the leader of the corpse clan, and it turned out to be Luke. He showed him his new experiments, but Luke was not interested on them anymore. So he just showed his gift, and when he took off the cover, Luke was surprised that it was May. Luke immediately scolded him because she was the daughter of the mayor, who was one of the richest and most powerful people in the country, and it might cause a war between the people and the corpse clan. John quickly explained why he did it, since May already knew about their laboratory. Then he also blamed Yana because she was the one who let others follow her, causing the others to discover the facility. Then he also showed to Luke the video on her cell phone. Luke seemed happy on the information he got, and as a reward for what John did, he gave him corpse pellets. Then Luke approached May, but John was surprised to hear Yana's voice. She was just in the pool and had been enjoying the water for a while. In John's anger at her because of what happened in his laboratory, he rushed at Yana, but she easily got hold of him. Then Luke returned the cell phone to Yana to take care of the incident in the video. While John wondered what Luke did to him because he suddenly felt something strange in his body. It was only here that he found out that Luke gave him a corpse dissolution pellet. Because of this, he decided to bring out his monster form, and he fought against Yana. As John continued to attack, Yana got a chance to counter his attacks. But John did not mind it. Then he took out his weapon and immediately attacked her. She was able to dodge it, causing John to almost hit Luke on its face. Since John was angry at him too, he also wanted to attack him, but when Luke removed his eye patch, the black tentacles came out of his eyes and quickly bound John. It turned out that this was Luke's power, which was called the Black Demon, and because of its great power, there had been no trace left from John's body. When Yana clapped at what he did, he also tied her up because he knew that she only used him to kill John. However, he did not care about Johan nor the ring, as long as Yana could find the cultivation place, so that he could achieve his dream, which was the miraculous power. At night, while Johan was still hiding from the police, a car stopped him and some men put him in it. It turned out that it belonged to Leo. Johan beat him because he was the reason for what was happening in his life now. Because of this, he was held by Leo's men, and they intended to take the ring from him by cutting off his finger. In order for Leo not to continue his plan, Johan mentioned what Dan told him about the other way to get the ring, but he needed to go to the Tianchu Palace. Leo believed what he said and released him immediately. Since he had no clothes on, he just took the clothes of the mannequin which was displayed in a mall. To save money in going to the Tianchu Palace, he went with the elders in a bus because of the special offer. He looked at the map that Dan gave him, and because he could not understand it very well, he had a hard time finding the exact location. Because of so much hunger, he became so weak that he fell down. Suddenly, he heard a woman scream, so he immediately hid. The men were chasing her, and when he looked at the woman, he recognized her as his classmate, named Tattoo. He wondered why she was there, so he decided to follow them. When they got to the cliff, the men wanted to take the pendant that she was wearing because it belonged to their village. But Tattoo told them that he had been wearing it since she was a child. Because of the pattern on the pendant, the men were sure that it was from Mount Wui. Tattoo said that a man gave it to her, and now she intended to look for this person in the area. Suddenly, a man opened fire to shoot, but she still refused to give it to them. When the man aimed at her, it was the moment when Johan appeared to stop this man. A man tried to grab the pendant from Tattoo, causing her to lose her balance and fell into the cliff. Because of this, Johan pushed those in front of him, and he quickly jumped to the cliff to save Tattoo. In his will to live, he unleashed the power of the ring and was able to get a hold onto the rocks. When Tattoo saw his hand and his eyes, she lost her consciousness because of shock. The night when Tattoo regained her consciousness, Johan made an excuse that he just did a magic trick earlier. But it turned out that Tattoo had read about the immortals of Mount Wui, and this was what she thought about what Johan had showed earlier. She even wanted to become Johan's disciple and learn this technique. Because Tattoo was persistent, Johan said that he would try it, but for now, they had to get out of there. When he tried his power again, he could not release it. Then Tattoo was surprised to see the hanging coffins on the side of the cliff. These were the so-called hanging coffin burial that used to be done before, in the belief that they would become immortal if their body was placed on the cliff after they died. But Johann did not believe in this because he was sure that the coffins were just filled with bones inside them. Suddenly, Tattoo felt sleepy, so she decided to sleep first. At that moment, Johann once again remembered the day his father left and never came back. He blamed him because if he only came back, their lives and the condition of his mother would not be like this. In his anger, he urinated on the coffin that was near him. When he finished and as he turned around, he heard someone knocking. It turned out to be from the coffin which he urinated, and its cover opened after a few moments. A hand came out of it that shocked him and he fell to the ground. When he looked again, a creature that he thought was a ghost suddenly appeared in front of him. Because of this, Tattoo also woke up and immediately hugged Johann because of fear. Johann was surprised that the creature knew him and said that he had been waiting for him for a long time and that he also wanted Johann to come with him. Because of fear, when he thought that he would also die, the creature just laughed at him and he showed Johann's picture. So Johann immediately thought of Dan, and according to this creature, Dan was one of his disciples. He introduced himself as Maksuzi, and he was there at the order of Shinjuin of Tianshu Palace to welcome him. When Tattoo found out that Maksuzi was currently in the cultivation of immortality, she begged him if she could be his disciple too, but it turned out that Maksuzi would not accept a woman. But if she agreed to be his wife, he might think about it and consider her as a disciple. Tattoo immediately agreed to this, and Maksuzi decided to take her to the Tianshu Palace. Maksuzi held them, and Johann imagined that they were like a family. Then he told them to close their eyes, and reminded them not to open them no matter what happens. They jumped at the same time, and when Johann landed, he opened his eyes even though Maksuzi had not yet told him to do so. He was already inside a cave, but he was not with Tattoo and Maksuzi. He saw there a group of people who were wearing ancient clothes. Because it seemed familiar to him, he remembered the painting in the laboratory. After a while, these people started to attack and eat the old man in the middle. Because he wanted to hear what they were talking about, Johann tried to approach them. But the two of them turned to him. He thought that this incident had happened for a long time, so he looked behind him in case they saw someone else. But Johann did not see anyone else, and when he turned around again, one of these men was already in front of him and started smelling him. He immediately punched this man, but his arm just went through the man's body. He suddenly fainted and woke up with Tattoo and Maksuzi around him. They told him that he lost consciousness because he opened his eyes without the signal from Maksuzi, and luckily, he was able to wake up. When he stood up, the surroundings immediately became familiar to him because this was also the place that he dreamed about. Tattoo saw the stone where there was an engraved words that Pingzhu became immortal in the area, and Johann remembered that it was in this exact location that the old man was eaten, so he thought that Pingzhu might be the old man. But they found out that it was only Maksuzi who carved it. Johann confirmed that Pingzhu was the old man, and his rebellious descendants founded the Corpse Clan. It was the moment that Dan appeared to them, and he immediately noticed Tattoo. Then Johann introduced her as the future wife of Maksuzi. But Dan just laughed at them because someone like Maksuzi was not allowed to marry. Because of this, Maksuzi used his trick again, saying that he would not continue his cultivation just to marry Tattoo, but Dan once again revealed the truth to John and Tattoo. So Tattoo just kissed him as a sign of gratitude for taking her there. This made Maksuzi so happy and said that he would prepare something for them. Johann thought that he was going to prepare food, but it turned out to be just a hot spring. Dan said that they needed to take a bath before going to Tianshu Palace. After they took a bath and while resting, Johann thought about the unique appearance of this place. He could not tell if Dan and Maksuzi were bad or good, and he also suspected the possibility that the first meeting between him and Dan was not a coincidence. Because of this, he was not sure if he would be safe in this place, and to know more, he wanted to explore the area first to get more information. But because he had not eaten anything yet, he was also weak from hunger. Suddenly, he noticed the light ahead, so he approached it. It turned out to be a tunnel out of the cave, and it was here that he saw the Tianshu Palace. Then he also saw others like Maksuzi who were on training with their disciples. It was here that he saw how strong these creatures were. After defeating his enemies, he took a picture of what he looked like before he began his immortality cultivation. His companions silenced him immediately because someone else might be able to hear their secret. The other one was worried that they may not be able to return to their human form, but the other was confident that it would happen because their 5 masters had returned to their human forms. But they did not know how the 5 masters did it, except that they heard rumors that it started when a group of archaeologists entered the Tianshu Palace 5 years ago. Because of what Johann heard, he remembered his father. Suddenly, one of the 5 masters, named Chun, came there, and as Johann was about to leave, another master, named Linden, stopped him. The rest of them were also there, and when Chun noticed the ring that Johann was wearing, he was surprised, and immediately asked Johann why he was wearing the long-lost ring of the Tianshu Palace. When Johann got away, Chun immediately asked his disciples to catch him, and luckily Maksuzi came there. He told the masters that Johann was a guest of Jinjuan, and since Jinjuan was looking for Johann, they immediately went to him. When they entered inside, there were also prepared foods that made Johann hungry. Even before they started eating, Johann got one and tasted it. When Jinjuan came there, he was surprised that Johann was starting to eat the foods which was served to him. Dan tried to stop him, and that was when Linden came to him and suddenly attacked his table. Then he attacked Johann, and even though Dan came in between to stop him, Linden did not listen to him. Since Jinjuan had no reaction to this, it was here that Linden used his power. But Johann just blocked it because he was able to release his power. After he returned it, Linden attacked again and did it repeatedly. The two of them fought until Johann was able to grab Linden and knock him down. This is where Jinjuan separated them, and when Jinjuan knocked Johann down, they immediately surrounded him with weapons. When Chun noticed Johann's red hair, he remembered someone. After Jinjuan returned to his seat, he also created chairs and let Johann sit in the middle. He asked Johann why he was wearing the ring that belonged to the Tianshu Palace. Johann replied that it was just an accident that he wore it, and that's the reason why he was there, because he wanted to ask for help on how to remove it. But Jinjuan said that there were already 3 people who suddenly exploded after wearing this ring. All of them perished immediately. Not one of them was able to get rid of the ring. Even Jinjuan did not know how to remove it, and it just meant that Johann was the first person to use the power of this ring. He added that with the power he showed, he had surpassed everyone in the Tianshu Palace. Right now, Johann had to stay in the palace, because the next day, Jinjuan had something important to announce. The 4 masters talked about what Jinjuan mentioned regarding his important announcement. They knew that Jinjuan wanted to become an immortal in the sky, but he had not yet chosen someone to inherit his place. Because of this, Chun had a hunch that Jinjuan would announce about this, and it was possible that Johann was chosen to inherit his position. Since Jinjuan would drink elixir every day, Chun assigned one of their colleagues to bring the elixir to him. But it turned out that this was a different elixir, because this was their way to fulfill Jinjuan's wish to become immortal in the sky. On the other hand, they did not know that Yana and Luke were already outside, because Yana had successfully found the Tianshu Palace where the cultivation place was located. When Jinjuan entered his room, he was given the elixir to drink. He drank it, and as soon as he entered his room, he immediately felt that someone else had entered it. He quickly tracked down where the person was hiding, and when he was about to catch him, it was here that this person shot him. Johann and Dan heard the sound of the gunshot, and when they got out of the house, they immediately heard that Jinjuan was already dead. They quickly went to Jinjuan's room, and it was here that they found out that the culprit was a woman. Dan rushed inside and was surprised who did it, and when Johann entered, he was shocked because it turned out to be Tattoo. After Chun and the others killed the members of the Corpse Clan who dared to enter the Tianshu Palace, the news of Jinjuan's death reached them. When they found out that Tattoo was the culprit, they now had a reason to take revenge. After they left, Luke and Yannick came there and asked the remaining disciple about the location of the cultivation place. But he did not answer him, so Luke immediately killed him. Since they also heard of Jinjuan's death, Luke was complacent that no one could stop them now. Johann and Dan found out that Tattoo's father, named Ayatsi, was also a disciple of the Tianshu Palace. Tattoo wanted to take revenge on Jinjuan because she learned that he was the one who killed his father. And this was because his father knew about the murder of the archaeologists 5 years ago. She got the information from the letters that his father sent to them, and she said that her father had already decided to leave the Tianshu Palace, but since then, they had not heard anything more about his father. Previously, during the incident 5 years ago, the members of the Corpse Clan attacked the group of archaeologists where Johan's father, named Jin, was also included. When they were about to be killed by the Corpse Clan, Jinjuan came there to save them, and that was the moment when Jin lost his consciousness. When he regained his consciousness, he got to know Ayatsi, Jinjuan, and the others who had not yet returned to their human form. It was here that he found out that they were already in the Tianchu Palace. When they all recovered, they were summoned to face Jinjuan. But just a few moments later, one of their colleagues collapsed due to dizziness. After they returned to their room, it was only here that they found out that the radiation level was high in the palace. Because of this, Jin thought to talk to Ayatsi about it. Ayatsi was a good craftsman, and he said that he only sent his creations to his daughter, and this was when Jin also found out that Ayatsi had a wife and a daughter. Jin also wanted to ask him to make one for his son Johan, but Chun came there and scolded Ayatsi. He added that with what Ayatsi was doing, he would not be able to enter the cultivation place. That's why Jin found out that only Ayatsi had not yet entered the area before. One day, they entered the cultivation place with Ayatsi to investigate the mystery, and they found out that there was a high level of radiation inside this room. But Jinjuan caught them, and Jin tried to explain what they were doing in the room. He scientifically based the reasons why Jinjuan's appearance changed and why they also gained power. But Jinjuan did not believe in this information and tied them all up. Suddenly, Chun thought of a way for them to return to their human form. Then they decided to bury Jin and the others in the hot ground inside a cave. Ayatsi secretly made them drink water, but after a few days, they gradually weakened. The day had also came when Chun's method had been completed so that they could return to their human form. They swallowed it at the same time, but Maksuzi kept his. Because of this, he was the only one among the 6 who did not return to his human form. However, Jinjuan knew that it was against their law, and they should never do it again. Chun noticed that someone was peeking outside, so he quickly chased after him. It turned out to be Ayatsi, and he did not hesitate to kill him. Maksuzi came to Jinjuan's room and showed the elixir which was created from humans. Then he noticed Johan, who looked like Jin, and this was when they found out that he was Jin's son. In Johan's anger on what they did to his father, he decided to take revenge. He blew up Jinjuan's room, so Dan quickly saved Tattoo and Maksuzi. A few moments later, someone suddenly attacked Johan, and it turned out to be Chun. After Johan got up, he retaliated against Chun, but he quickly avoided this, causing one of his colleagues to be hurt. When Johan rushed at Chun, he used his power, which was easily blocked by Johan. When they avoided Johan's attack, Chun attacked him again, and the rest of his companions also helped in attacking Johan. But even though they had combined all their powers, those still did not work on Johan. Johan attacked them again, so Chun asked one of their colleagues to wake up, since he was just pretending to be dead. Then they tied Johan with chains, but because Johan was so strong, he just broke their chains. Chun quickly used one of his techniques, and Johan could not avoid it anymore. Because of this, Chun was able to knock him down, but after a while, Johan got up again. They could not believe it, and when Johan was about to attack Chun, he suddenly stopped and lost his consciousness. Linden was about to kill Johan, but Dan immediately stopped him. The two of them fought, and since Dan's abilities were limited, Linden took him down easily. When Linden attacked using Dan's weapon, Maksuzi was able to stop it. He begged them to forgive Dan because he was just drunk. Chun said that he had no intention of forgiving Dan, but if he kneeled to them 3 times, he might have mercy on him. But Dan had no intention of following this, so Chun suddenly attacked him, but Maksuzi quickly blocked it, causing him to die on the spot. When Luke and Yana arrived at the gate of Tianchu Palace, Luke called his men and let them enter the palace. While the 2 disciples were talking about the death of Jinjuan and Maksuzi, they were attacked by Luke's disciples. On the other hand, Chun and the others took Johan to the cultivation place to recover the ring. When they were about to cut off his finger, the ring reacted immediately, and they could not get it, so Chun decided to bring Johan inside the cultivation place. Then they gathered their disciples to inform them that Chun would be their new leader. Chun informed them of his plan to create many more pills of immortality from people so they could restore their human form and make them all stronger than before and be able to fight against the army of the Corpse Clan. It was only a few moments when one of their disciples came to inform them of the Corpse Clan's attack. Luke and Yana quickly arrived at the cultivation place. While the disciples were closing the room itself, Luke suddenly attacked them. The two also entered it immediately. While Johann was remembering one by one about the people who he was with in the past days, including his parents. He was about to give up and close his eyes, but he suddenly heard the blood devil's voice. When he remembered the situation of Dan and Tattoo, it was here that he got the will to fight again. This is the end of the last episode of The Devil Rings Season 1. I hope you like it and give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel so you won't miss newly uploaded videos. Thank you for watching.